Hey guys, Gin Graves here with another chapter review for you guys. This time it is on Chapter 7 of No Longer Human, Volume 2. Really good series, guys. Getting into it, analyzing it, all the craziness that goes on to it. What's happened so far is the guy has moved in with Flounder. He is hitting on Masao, his friend's editor for manga, basically. Masao has started drawing manga. Got to do art and all that other stuff, and is hitting on her. We found out she has a kid. That's about it. Nothing has really stuck out about any other woman when it comes down to anything extra. Nobody else has had a kid or anything like that, or had another soul they actually had to worry about or rely on. You know, so we're on number 7. And he's basically run away from Flounder's child that they were going back home together. So they did end up going back to the lady's place. Even though she said, we can't go back there because I have a kid, they still ended up going back there. The little girl's eating her breakfast, got done, changed her clothes, remember your gym clothes, do all this stuff, turn on the TV, come on. The editor is such a good woman. I think she's one of my favorite women that is actually in this. Towards the end, a lot of the women that come out of this are actually really good. You find out later on, and looking back, a lot of the women that were in this were either outstanding in a way for our character, and it was just a bad thing that they met him, basically, or something like that. I mean, we've gotten all these different characters so far, especially focused on women, and how they've affected our main character. And like I said, if you go back and look at it, all the women in some way or another have been really good influences one way or another, but they met our main character and everything kind of blew up just because of him. So it is kind of a thing with that. But this character, the editor, left him a plate of food, wrapped it up and everything, put it there, and also took out 1,000 yen bill and slid it basically like beside him so that he would have money as well. And she made coffee. So and she says the reason why she gave him the money is because if he runs out, if the food's not enough, she gave him money so he could go get something at the store or whatever. And she told her daughter to wait downstairs, so we are progressing a little more with whatever's going on. We don't really know where they were whenever stuff happened, but it could have happened. It could have been back at her place, could not have. We don't know because by the illustration, everything, we don't know where that happened at. So Yozo kisses her. She wants him to, and tells him what they're having for dinner that night. He's basically moved in with her. Like I said, we're on chapter 7. He's gained some weight back. He's gotten healthier, watching the TV and whatnot. And he goes back to the pachinko bar and smoking. So I guess that's what he's probably been doing. Shiori's come home, which Shiori is the daughter, so, of the editor. And she wants him to draw her a picture. He draws her a little picture that's a frog named Ping, this is going to be a big thing later on, because this is actually her, this is kind of one of his things that gets him more established in this. You find out this is one of the things that's kind of ruin him later on, because of how drawing gives him more money, and it feeds into that whole money means something because it's the only thing, and how it kind of ruins him. So So he draws her the character and draws a little comic with it, and there is a mouse with glasses and stuff that he draws, and he's called Mr. Geek. So he's drawing these little comics, and she asks if he will, the little girl asks if he will make a comic out of it. And all that other stuff. We're back to our our old ways again. The little girl has her futon beside her mom's, and him and the editor are both on the covers doing, yeah. There's not more I can say about that. So, and then his futon is actually in the living room, which I find really funny. I guess there's 2 rooms, maybe. Let me see. No, there's only 1 room, so it's kind of like a 1-room studio apartment thing with a bathroom, because the kitchen's in the same room, so only the bathroom's in a separate area. So it is a studio apartment. He begins trying to write his story a little bit. He feels like he's gotten past so far that going back to his childhood memories is kind of hard. He's visualizing everything that's going on. Just different stuff that he says. I'll read a little bit of it to you guys just so you kind of know. I'm really happy or not. That's how I came up with clowning. Even I was startled by the ghastly drawings that I'd produced earlier. The one where his father, where it's not really a face. I have succeeded in being such a mischievous, the marionette. The mood of the movement, I had been with the mood of the movement rather than its essential purpose seem to suit me. Talking about the group, I thought, talking about Maseo, I thought he was good to hang out with. The girl from the group, I took my devotion to the ugly and unpleasant woman further and acted happy when she bought me things. And we're at the last part, which this line, I like it, even though it's obviously horrible, but it's the line of, the woman died, I alone was saved. And it's kind of that whole thing playing in the background. And then he goes to him and Flounder being together, and it says, since arriving at the house, I'd even lost the will to clown, wallowing in the contempt of Flounder and the little scamp. And some of these are all like stuff that, well, it is. All the black pages that we've had so far that we've read up to are all different things like that have gone with it. Let's see, we're on... What chapter are we on again? We are on chapter 7, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 things that were said, and some of them were probably added in there together. So, you know, it's all going off of it, especially the last 2 were things that were said at the end. And he has now talked about what it is now. He is telling us, this is the first time I've lived as a kept man. You know, somebody that somebody holds on to, somebody keeps dating or something like that, you know, kept. And after a few weeks, he arrived in his life. He was with her. And this is another good thing in his thing that he says, which I hate that mine's kind of, the ink's so dark, you can tell it cut and it probably smudged a little bit somewhere. But it says, and I wrote, or as I wrote, I felt money is a factor in all negatives. And he's talking to the girl the editor that he's laying beside says, "I wish I had money, a lot of money." She asks him how much, a lot. And he says, "It's true that love lasts as long as the money does." We've heard him say that before. And she tells him that's cliche. And again, which I can't believe she didn't run from this, but he tells her this whole part about if she didn't have money, if she didn't have any more money and was poor, he would probably run out the door. He wouldn't be with her anymore. He feels bad. He wants to earn his own living. And she tells him that he's better at drawing than Masao. So she thinks that he would be able to create his own manga, do stuff like that. And he says, at least at manga, he believes that. And she gives him a comedy manga and says, you could do this and go from there and make another comedy manga for kids or something, whatever. So it's with a kids magazine. She arranged a thing with him with the editor-in-chief of it. And his main thing is Ping, and he's got Mr. Geek, the mouse. Now he's kind of different, sweatsuits and everything. He's got a headband on, holding his hair back and everything. Different things come up related to his life before, the whole flounder thing, and all this other stuff. And he kind of wonders back about Flounder if he gets money or anything like that, thinking about Flounder's kid, what he did to him. But it's just like, it's the whole money aspect. It's still not anything with that. And the editor's looking over it. This is a really good manga. Guy really likes it because it's his first manga. Really likes that he's got this much potential already. And he's saying that he's going to take it because they have no titles that have a animal as the main character currently of the children's one. So and he got it. He has gotten the spot of that. And the editor lady that he's living with says that he can't use her address because she's an editor, but her brother lives close by, and that she's already gotten the go-ahead that he can use his. Kind of beating the system there, wink. And she's kind of bringing up some stuff to him. She doesn't know if he's asleep, which he's faking it. But she says it's one of those things, you tell a sleeping person to think of you. You just feel like it's okay that you can tell them and then not really get a response back. Some stuff that happens that way. So she says, I know that you don't love me, Yozo. And that you don't have anywhere else to live, and that's why you're here, basically. And but she's telling him, supposedly asleep, that she doesn't mind because she loves him, and he feels like she's just suffocating him to death, you know, stuff like that. Now he's got his editor, which is really good. And he automatically brings up, let's try and make it into an anime, even though they just got started. And they're going out to drink because the pilot of the manga just got made with the frog named Ping. And they go to a bar, and there's a old lady there, an older lady. And the editor guy for him is telling him that he's the next, telling her that he's the next Takashi Yanase. I can't think about what he wrote right now, so comment down below if you do. And through her, he kind of sees the girl with the butterfly tattoo on her hand. But she's middle-aged, and because the bar is dim, he's trying to tell himself that's why he saw this other girl in her. And he thinks, he's going back to thinking that maybe it was him writing in the journal or his diary. It's bringing up old memories of her. And the scent and everything from the lady, because of the smoke and all that, is drawing him back to the girl. And we go back to the whole thing where the dead leaves that settled on a rock underwater. He's been with the editor lady, Masayo's editor, for 6 months now, so we're getting a time jump skip and everything. He is now 19, so we're getting there. We're getting there. You know, first book he went from 17 to 18, and now we're at 19, so we're gonna jump a lot farther that here later on. And he got paid for it, but he blew all of it on booze and cigarettes, that he tells us. And we can kind of see the schism happening, everything happening between him and the editor girl. She wants to lean over and give him a kiss like she had been doing before, and he's giving her reasons not to. I'm busy right now. Stuff like that. And then he keeps going back to the bar with the girl that looks like the other chick. And drinking there. Confessing to her that he doesn't love her. And that at some point he feels like he's going to be burned by her. Which he knows. He knows now that he doesn't like her, but he's just in that convenient state. And he's just there. So. And I like that he confides in this older lady because there's so much stuff, because of her wisdom, all the stuff she's lived through, that she can give him because he's only 19 and she's middle-aged basically. And her bar, the Manos, that's what it is. Manos, Manos. She's saying it's under a bridge, and basically it's her church, it's her refuge. he goes home, and little girl's calling him Papa. And she's trying to pray for him. Getting into a little bit of religious stuff here. He tells her that she will probably listen, that with, she says she's going to pray to God. He says, well, he'll probably listen to your prayers, not mine. And he's got a letter. Let me read this letter to you guys, so you guys can kind of know what's going on. It says, Dear Yotaro Sensei, which that was his like pen name. My son and I always enjoy reading Freddie Ping very much. My son, who is 4 years old, insists on mimicking Ping every day to the great amusement of our entire family. I think Freddie Ping is a wonderful manga that reveals what a kind person you must be. I wish you all the best and hope that you'll continue to create such entertaining manga. He's gotten his first fan mail and he can't take it. You know, because he doesn't have to have, he can't have anything good in life, even though he's working his way and has no money because he's blowing it all. And he brings up too that, not to the little girl but to himself, that he is a cut man that just lies through his smile to be fed. And that he doesn't believe in divine love, but he believes in divine punishment. So at some point he knows that he has to give it up. The little girl, still sitting there praying, and says to him that she wishes she had a real papa, and looks at him. Again, now he's got the whole illusion that we had before. Remember with his dad that we talked about, I think in chapter 2, he's got that whole disillusion of himself that he thinks that there can't be anything good happen to him. And when it does, basically horrible things happen, and it just can't. It can't happen. So they are breaking that whole trend as it goes, with that. And this chapter is a little bit longer, I feel like. So I bet we'll go a little over on time. So let's see. He thought that he was safe with the little girl, and here was just another adult that wanted something from him, basically. Unfathomable, full of secrets, because he didn't know that she wanted a papa. And he should have known when she started calling him Papa that there was an alternative motive, which is one of these other things. For some reason, something happens, you know, money, there's got to be some alternative motive to everybody treating him kind or in a way, except for Masao, which we'll see here in a second. And he forced a smile with the editor lady. Now he's having to force a smile with the little girl as well. And where does he go? He goes back to the bar and to buy cigarettes. And he drank more and more. He sold different stuff off, jewelry and whatnot, to get more money so he could pay for his booze. You know, he was doing that, pawning off her jewelry and stuff that she bought, the editor, so that he could pay for more and more. And Masao came to see him, which is good. You know, whenever Masao pops in, like I told you guys already, Masao is one of my favorite characters, so whenever he pops in and out, it's you knowing that, hey, this is something that's happening, and you're about to get something where Masao is going to give you a good input. and he's joking, calls Yozo a gigolo, and he says it's because he can smell his scent on the editor, on his editor, you know. And that Flounder came to look for him. Every time, let's go out drinking or something like that. If I'm not doing anything, I come to find you, let's go drinking. That's Masayo's whole thing. So where do they go? They go to the Monos bar. And the lady at the bar finally tells him um, that he can stay with her anytime he needs to. So we have another one of those women that are kind of like worked around his finger, kind of. She says he's just one of those guys that basically girls fall in love with. He's got some aura about him. Masayo's manga is doing good, we know that. And Yozo's manga is still doing good. And I'm going to read you guys this little thing between Masayo and Yozo. So Masayo tells him, people won't let you keep getting away with your womanizing. And Yozo says to himself, in his mind, by people, don't you mean you? Because he's being really short when he actually tells him stuff back. And then it goes back to Masayo. People won't leave you alone unless you work hard. And he goes back in his head, you mean you won't? And then he says, people will bury you if you try another double suicide. And then he finally says, you're making me sweat. And then says, you mean you'll bury me? In his mind. He just has this thing, people, all doing it. And he says to himself, I see the people that I vaguely feared are in fact individuals. And he still feared them. Everything else. And we've kind of gone off the deep end on this, really. So we are back to not a black page yet. We're almost there. But we're back to him sitting at the counter drawing the frog thing that he's been doing for Ping. And now he's been drawing Ping vulgarly with stuff and eyes watching him and all that. And he actually gets sick and pukes. And he writes another one, which, given we know that this probably would have happened, he kind of sees it to himself. He sees himself looking and experiencing everything he's done so far. And the fact that he's drawing it with Ping. Ping is now doing things that he's done. Sleeping with women, seeing that there's a higher power. Scared that he's going to die, get eaten by birds, different stuff like that. And has been on this emotional roller coaster and doesn't know that the girls have made home, the editor and her daughter. And again, he's back at, I need money from her, even though she doesn't really have that much. That's what he needs. And he is trying to do this whole thing because he heard that thing that she told him the night before about how she loves him, so she'd basically do anything for her. He's bringing it up now, even though the little girl's still there too. He says, "You do anything for me, wouldn't you?" He wants her to undress. I'm going to draw you naked, undress, and she says, "I can't." Shiori's still here, the little girl. Bringing up, "You love me, don't you?" And now it's kind of one of those weird scenes. She's telling Shiori to leave, or Shiori to turn around. She doesn't want her to see this. Takes off her clothes, and it freaks him out. She only took off her shirt, so I mean, at least we didn't get more into that because of whatever. So she just took off her shirt, whatever is happening, and he's running away crazy. He's barefoot, doesn't have anything, and hiding from them. Looks like there's a park by their house. And asking, the little girl finally stops, and he's hiding from them. And the little girl asks, why does he get drunk? And she says, basically, is it just bad people? And she says, well, good people get drunk too. The little girl says, Froggy. She thinks maybe this could be Ping. And again, he hears this. He thinks those are happy people. I've ruined their lives, different stuff like that. But he's still on that whole train for himself that him not apologizing or anything can totally make amends. So, he thinks that he's a fool. And he lets them know this is goodbye, basically to himself. They're walking away, and he basically says goodbye to himself so that he can move forward, not being apart with them. Goes back to the bar and starts talking to the bartender again, and she gives him a drink. Basically, he turns around and falls asleep again. And he's hoping that even though he's not with her anymore, that she still has a chance to find happiness. Both of them do, the editor and the daughter. So that's where we are. We're back at the Black Pages, which we did go a little over on time. But wild ride, guys. Crazy stuff like that. So here we are. At this part, so let me read this for you, and we'll do the dissect, and then we'll try and get it done so this video is not as long. I think this is the longest one yet. Just do the same thing tomorrow, following the president of yesterday. As long as wild surges of happiness are avoided, neither will depths of sorrow visit. A toad just creeps around the stone blocking its way. When I discovered this verse by Guy Charles Cross, translated by Ben Yuda, all alone I blushed as though my face were aflame. A toad? That is me. Why even wonder if people will forgive me? Burying me or not isn't the issue. I am a base creature, lower than a dog or a cat, a toad, creeping along on my way. And that, after a toad, that is me, all that stuff down to along on my own way, basically, is all in parentheses and stuff. So we'll dissect it real quick and then get on to, I think it's the last chapter of this book. So just do the same thing tomorrow, following the president of yesterday. He's in the cycle. He's going through with emotions over and over again. It's the same thing. As long as wild surges of happiness are avoided, neither will depths of sorrow visit. So as long as you're in that state, you're in the even state, you're not happy and you're not upset, down here, then it's just the same. You're never going to change. So that's where he's at, which is still sad, even though you're not having a fluctuation or anything. A toad just creeps around the stone blocking its path. They don't jump over it. They just move, you know. The middle part we really don't need. The part where it says that it was translated and all that other stuff by the two guys. But all alone I blushed as though my face were aflame. You know, whatever. A toad, basically saying that's what he is. That is me. Why even wonder if people will forgive me? Burying me or not isn't the issue. I'm a base creature lower than a dog or a cat, a toad, creeping along on my way. So, basically, that's what he feels like. He's lower than any other animal. So, except for a toad. So, that is where we are on that one. And we will get done with this so we can move forward to the last chapter of this book. And then we have book 3, and we will be done. This is a shorter series because it's only 3 books, like I told you before. So, really good stuff. Glad that you guys are still here. Hopefully, you're still enjoying this and what's going on, explanations and everything. This one was a very long chapter, and there was a little more that I had to tell you guys than I could just kind of vaguely skim over. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Jen Graves. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.